guys, Nathan Brandon Masters coming at you with r/glitchintheMatrix. The artwork you're looking at here are the preliminary pencils for page 3 of the Victor Locke versus Dorian Gray fight. This is from Victor Locke Demon Noir issue 2. And the pen I'm using is the Artline Fine Liner. This is a .08. So really like this pen. And these are the first 2 pages. I showed you guys this a few videos back. This is all being drawn on Canson XL watercolor paper. As I talked about before, I have switched back to that for these Victor Locke Demon Noir books, which I do with ink wash. Now, before we jump into the video, for those of you who may be new here, I write and draw a comic book called Hexcraft Mechanics, the 56-page supernatural urban fantasy action comic. The link is in the description. I'd love for you to go over there, check it out, and back it, and tell me what you think about it. I'll tell you a little bit more at the end of this video. The first story is from Miss Moore 66. When I was a child, I remember that my great-grandma has a room off to her barn that was used as my aunt's office. I remember going in there multiple times and seeing my aunt's work. I stopped going there, and when she passed away, my family met there to go over the will. I noticed that there was no longer a door on the side of the barn. I asked if they redid the wall or something, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. I told them that it had been there. It was Aunt's office, and they told me no, that her office was in the house. I even went to look for the room, and it wasn't there. The barn was just a barn, no extra rooms. No one remembers there being a room there. Now I'm going to read a reply here, and this is for my Mandela Effect peeps. This is from user Bill Lockham. This again matches the theory recently presented in the Mandela Effect sub, that the universe gets recreated every second together with plausible history. What you remembered was just not necessary in the universe where no one else remembered it. So it got erased. A blank wall was apparently more plausible and likely for the universes that were recreated after your aunt's death. That's an interesting theory, that the universe keeps recreating itself, and if you don't remember something, if enough people don't remember it, it possibly just fades out. That's kind of like the belief if enough people believe something, they can create it. At least that's what I'm reading into it. So what do you read into that? Now, the next story we have here is from Disney Princess 04, and I've heard and seen other stories like this, and you may have had experiences like this, but her story is titled, I Knew the Movie Before It Came Out. I want to start with, I have always had strange experiences, but this instance has always stuck with me. I vividly remember watching Disney's The Kid 2 years before it was released. My mom, big Disney fan, bought it thinking it would be a fun family movie. I then told her and all my preteen angst that I had already seen it and it was boring. She then informed me that there was no way I could have seen it because it had just come out. To prove my story, I told her about the plot, a few scenes I remembered on hand that weren't part of the commercials, and how it ended. The whole family then sat down to watch it, and I was able to tell them everything that was about to happen and probably ruin the movie for them now that I think about it. No one ever mentioned it again. Thanks for letting me share this. Now, last time we had somebody that heard a song that they had never heard before, and they knew all the lyrics and everything. So, you hear this actually a lot in these threads where people hear this stuff, they see these movies, and never seen them before, yet somehow they know what's happening. And I'd like to know how that works too, because my mom always tells me a story about a song that she thought she had wrote. She thought she had wrote these lyrics and thought this was this amazing song. And then one day she heard it on the radio, and she had never told anybody about this song. And it was the exact same song that she had written. And this was like a long time ago when she was a kid, so maybe she, maybe it wasn't exactly what she thought it was. But looking at this kind of stuff, I'm thinking, I don't know, I don't know. I do believe in the parallel thinking, the ideal of parallel thinking. I've, of course, experienced that myself, and I think a ton of artists have. I know when I was thinking about, I had this idea of recreating fairy tales in a different type of way, and taking different pieces from different fairy tales, and it was all set in this place called Grimsville, Illinois. It's this affluent suburb of Chicago, and a lot of crazy, weird things would go on there. And a lot of the Grimm's fairy tales characters were related in some way, shape, or form. So I tried to get like everybody in there. But around the same time I was thinking about that, Once came out, which was, the remake of these various fairy tales. And again, somebody in one of these stories was talking about the fact that they had seen Once. They had seen it before it came. I'm assuming they were talking about Once before it came out. So I'll tell you another thing that happened recently. I was thinking, when you think about movies and stuff, making movies, you kind of think about who you would like to play your character, like what big Hollywood star you would like to play your character. And I was thinking Lady Gaga would make a great Lady Bathory. And, American Horror Story ended up casting Lady Gaga as Lady Bathory. So a lot of stuff, I won't even bring up, I've brought up the Blade thing a million times. For those who don't know, when Wesley Snipes first started working with Marvel, he was going to play Black Panther. So Black Panther was an old idea. That was out in the 90s, okay? And there were like a lot of black comic book ideas out in the 90s, which a lot of people don't know, or at least people don't, a lot of people today act like they don't know that. But in the 90s, that was a big deal. So there was no way in hell I was expecting Blade to come out. And around that time, I was working on Victor Locke, Demon Hunter, who you see here, and I wanted him to be like the name in demon hunting, and supernatural hunters, like the black supernatural guy. That's Victor Locke. And literally, like when I had finished working on this Victor Locke novel, and I was editing it, and that's when my friend told me that Blade was coming to the theater, and you guys know I just kind of lost it there. But another one, and this is the last one, but and I can't really say too much about this one because Universal always kind of tries to reload their Universal monsters and try to get that cash, if you will. So they always try to come up with something new to kind of put them back out there. But at the time when I was heavily thinking about how to redesign Frankenstein for the Night Phoenix Press universe, I Frankenstein came out. So, parallel thinking is a heck of a thing. There's a crack podcast about it that is amazing. And one of the things they talk about is Dennis the Menace, how there's an American version of Dennis the Menace, and I believe there's like a UK version of Dennis the Menace, and they were created on the same day. So I definitely believe in parallel thinking, and I think there's whatever things are happening in the culture that are kind of converging and making people think of these certain things. I do believe that does happen. Our next story is from user wandrlusty, and it's called The Disappearing Guest. This is something that happened many years ago, but it still goes unexplained. I was around 18 years old and was on a family trip with my best friend and her family. There were 6 of us in total. We stayed for a week at a lake resort. Think Dirty Dancing type place where all guests were booked for a minimum of 1 week. All the meal times were announced by the ringing of a bell, and all the guests ate in the same dining hall, typically at the same large table each time. One meal time we were joined by a lady we hadn't seen or met yet. She sat across from me. She and I had a very intense, personal, and memorable conversation. It was easy to talk to her. It felt like I already knew her. I was looking forward to seeing her again at the next mealtime, but she wasn't there. When I asked my friend's father if the lady would be joining us again, because I assumed that he was the one to invite her to join us in the first place, he had no idea what I was talking about. I asked the others, thinking he must be joking. None of them remember a lady sitting with us at our table. but I know for sure she was there, sitting across from me. I remember the conversation we had. I have no idea how to explain this. Hey guys, there you go, another disappearing person. This last one, it's a long one, but I think you're going to enjoy it. And this is posted by user hollyharmonystar. I was saved from death twice. The first time it happened, it was 1996. I was going to a really big high school. I was in 9th grade. Before school, all my friends and I would cross the street to go to the smoker's corner. My mom was pretty late in dropping me off that morning, so I knew I had to run over there fast if I wanted to smoke my little bowl and a cigarette. I was a bad teen. Bad things were going on in my household. I was acting out, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, Mom dropped me off and I booked it, as I only had about 5 minutes or so before the bell rang. So here I am, running full speed ahead. I thought I glanced to the left and right and saw no cars coming as I was running. As I neared the middle of the street, I felt a seriously strong force stop me right in my tracks. My arms were flailing above my head. I felt a little unbalanced but held firm. Literally 1 second later, a white minivan comes barreling through. The tires of the van were about 1.5 inches from my feet. I nervously laughed it off and called over to my friends. Did you guys see that? I was young and didn't see the gravity of what just happened, but later in life, I still think about it. The second time, in 2001, I was driving from San Fernando Valley back to Simi Valley, California, in a Dodge Ram V10. Not my truck, but I was allowed to borrow it with my boyfriend at the time, and he was sleeping. We had both been up for several days. You know why. But I was fully awake, but coming down. So here we are driving on the 118 freeway. It's a multi-lane freeway, 5 lanes to be exact. I was going about 95 miles per hour in the fast lane. The freeway turned a corner and I couldn't see right around the bend. All 5 lanes turned into one. I was going so fast that I didn't have time to react. The car in front of me was dead stopped. I slammed on the brakes, but it was going to be too late. Suddenly I felt something. Someone grabbed the steering wheel. It felt so strong. It turned left just a bit to avoid the car in front of me, and then turned right slightly to avoid the concrete median. I'm telling you guys right now, that was not me. I was kind of delirious and would not have had that kind of reaction time. Whatever force this was, it had to intervene. I really don't know why I got saved twice. I hope this fits the rules. Sorry if it doesn't. And that's it for tonight, guys. Hope you enjoyed those stories. Hope you enjoyed the art. Links are in the description, so you can go over and check out any updates or just say hi to the authors. Other than that, guys, take a look at my book, Hexcraft Mechanics Issue 2. It's a 56-page supernatural action comic starring this character, Victor Locke Demon Hunter, as well as Dracula and a few other people you might know, especially if you've been keeping up with my books. It's written and drawn by me, and I think you will enjoy it. We got one backer already, so we hope to get many, many more. Click the link in the description. Give it a try. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hasta.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die, looking through the eyes of a brand new life. It's so